Hello, welcome back to the channel and my humble garage. Today I've been planning a little bit of maintenance on my Tiger 800. As you can see, I've given her a little bit of a wash in preparation, so I decided that I was just going to make a little bit of a video, kind of a review if you'd like, because I've had this bike for 20,000 miles now, a couple of years, and I feel that I'm in a reasonably good position to have an opinion on this thing. I'm going to talk about the stuff I like, the stuff I don't like, and the common problems that I've had with this, and I have had a few. And then I'll give you my overall opinion on this bike, and if you're going to buy one, should you or not. Now, to start with, as you can see, my Tiger, when I bought it, it was a bone stock 2011 Tiger, so it's not an XC, it's not a XR or anything like that. It is a straight Tiger 800 from the original release of the bike. Upgrades that I have done, as you can see, I have different mirrors, handguards, lens cover. I have this upper mud guard off the XC. You see a lot of people put these on, and it really is just for an aesthetic, really. I think it looks way better with this on. I have a full set of Triumph crash bars, dresser bars, whatever you would like to call them. These are Triumph 900 lights, BMW R1200 1250 lights, which I've adapted to work on this bike inside of the 800 housings. It has the tool screen on it. This was already on it when I bought the bike. I've upgraded the bike so it has the WP suspension off of a later model. I'll explain a little bit about that in a second, because there's good reason for that. And just usual stuff, phone charger, Scott oiler, etc. Oh, and I put shorty levers on her as well. So all in all, this has been a really good bike. What I'd like to say is there are a few things that I have found to be that I don't like with it. Firstly, if you're the kind of person that likes your bike to look perfect forever, this isn't the bike for you. So as you can see, this just came off when I was washing the bike. The finish, the silver finish on this particular year is awful, and it's very hard to see at the moment, but there's little bits of rust and bits where the paint has essentially chipped off. So you know, quite clearly that is something that I don't like about this bike. And you have the same problem on the engine casings. The finish is very poor. It doesn't last long. You can sort of see, well, you can't, it's too dark, but I've touched this engine up, to put it mildly, and in all fairness, the rear shock on this bike, the standard rear shock, is absolutely awful. I had to change that within a few months of owning the bike. It's as standard. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall, I weigh 110 kilos, not a small guy. The shock just wasn't up to it, let alone when you've got the missus on the back and you have a full set of panniers with shopping or picnic in it. So that is why I upgraded to an XC shock I believe it was off of 2015, 16, maybe 17 model, which is exactly the same in its dimensions. Strangely enough, I suppose it's not overly strange, but the road going versions come with the hooks built into the frame for the reservoir, so you can literally just drop it straight in. And I suppose now is a good point to talk about problems I've had with this bike, because this would come under things I don't like, right? So an issue with these bikes, a big issue, is battery and starter motor. They do, for some reason, like to kill batteries. I have a lot of stuff on mine, obviously, heated grips, spotlights, you know, sat nav, phone charger, but I don't use these things all the time. Whenever you check the bike to see how it's charging, etc, etc, it's always fine, until it's not, right? So just something to be wary of. These bikes like to eat their batteries. I found that you get about maybe a couple of years out of each one. You know, people could argue that's not bad, but nearly £100 a go, I don't think it's great. But there you go. Starter motors. If you own one of these bikes and your battery checks out as good, and when the bike is hot, so when it's dead cold, it'll start like an absolute champ, but you go for a ride for maybe 15 minutes and that bike will not start. You don't even get a click like the starter motor is you know, it presents itself as a dead battery, is how I would describe it, but it's not. The starter motors are junk. What I found is the commutator inside of the, I think it's called the commutator, the spinny bit inside of the starter motor, they warp, only by a tiny amount, but as you can imagine, when it gets hot and things expand, then essentially what it does is it jams inside the housing, giving you that like it's a low battery. Okay, so chances are, if you have one of these and it won't start when it's hot, it's most likely your starter motor. And if anybody would like to know, you can fit starter motors from Street Triple 675s and Tiger 800s to this bike. This bike currently has a Street Triple 675 starter motor in it, out of a 2015 model, which I believe is around where they let's say tweak the starter motors. So if you have an older one and it's doing that to you, that's why. Second thing that I don't really like, or possibly the third thing, the downpipes, manifolds on these bikes. I currently have a Delcovic, just because it was a convenient and reasonably priced part, but I mean, this bike's 12 years old I think now, and the top of the manifold where it turns into the elbow and they're welded on was totally cracked, I think due to corrosion, because the pieces at the top seem to be made out of a different material to the rest of the tube, which I think is really bad if you take into account this one is a 2003 and the downpipes on this are perfect with regards to, you know, rotting and having cracks in them. So I don't like that. I've had to do the fork seals twice on this bike. Whether that's just this particular bike, or you know, whether that's a wider problem, but yeah, done them twice on this. Used genuine seals once. Maybe that was my fault. Apart from that, it's all been general maintenance, keeping up with your valve clearances, your oil changes, your coolant changes, and just looking after the bike. And really, those three things are the biggest problems that I've had with this bike. And apart from that, this bike has been amazing. What I have put this bike through is unreal. So believe it or not, I have taken this bike green laning. I have used it every single day, riding it 40-50 miles a day to work and back, and it has been absolutely fantastic. It doesn't do anything brilliantly, but it does everything good enough. I rate this bike very highly, to the point of which, you know, when this bike eventually dies, and I no longer want to spend money on it, I will be buying a newer one of these for my daily needs, because I do trust this bike. It has a comfortable riding position. The MPGs are good. I get around 45 miles per gallon on this. As I say, I'm a big heavy guy. I carry a lot of stuff, and I think that that's not bad. The newer ones are better, but I think for the age of this bike, being it's a 2011, I think it's good. It's a comfortable riding position, and it handles surprisingly well, particularly once I upgraded to the WP, which you would think wouldn't be the case, being that that's from an XR, which is merely more geared to off-road. But that is one of the best upgrades you can do for this bike. Really changed the handling on it. And the bike itself is also surprisingly nippy. For what it is, this thing goes like stink for what it is. And it is very much a good all-rounder. So that was just a brief introduction to my Triumph 800, my opinion on it. I rate this bike. If you're thinking about buying one, do it, but just take into account some of the things I've said. Just expect to have a few problems, but overall they're a very good bike. So we will be doing some maintenance videos on this bike. I bought this bike at about, I can't remember now, I think about 15,000 miles. Yeah, so she's knocking on the door of 40 now, and as you can see, she's due a service. So I'll be doing a few videos on this. If anyone has any questions about these bikes, I may have the answer you're looking for. I've just remembered there was another fault with this bike which I didn't mention, so I'm going to slap it on the end here. The return spring for the gear change snapped. Apparently on these early ones, a very common problem due to a low quality spring, according to Triumph. Very easy job to do. It was just a case of zipping off the clutch basket, and then removing the gear change shaft, which just runs through the engine, and popping the new spring back on, which off the top of my head, the part, I believe the postage was more than the part. I think the part was about £3 and the postage was something like £5. But that's a common problem, but not a difficult problem to solve. Anybody with a basic toolkit and a basic amount of mechanical knowledge would be able to solve that problem. Again, if anybody is having that problem and they would like some sort of instructions on how to do that, I can offer that. So that will conclude my video on the Triumph Tiger 800. Hopefully I'll have some more videos coming out this weekend with regarding the Motor Gadget stuff, which is over there, which I haven't touched since the last video. Busy life, but it will be coming out soon, hopefully tomorrow. Take care, see you next time.